Welcome to Frank Faith. This is a forum where we get to discover God's truth together. I am Carmelo. Today I would like to discuss what happened to the United States of America. The state of this country in 2023 is just abysmal. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve, a day after is January 1st, 2024. So, welcome to Frank Faith. This is a forum where we get to discover God's truths together. I'm Carmelo. Today we're going to discuss the United States of America in 2023. This country has been the most blessed, most powerful country that has ever existed in all of human history. We have 5% of the population, yet control 30% of the world's wealth. Our military is just unprecedented. The power, the reach. We can be anywhere in the world within a maximum of 48 hours should anything occur that we need to take care of. We've got the greatest Navy. We've got the most powerful Army, Marines, and our Air Force is unparalleled. Our geography. This country has the longest navigable river system in the world, by far, actually, with the Mississippi River and all the tributary rivers that go into it. It is 3 times longer than the Rhine in Germany. It's a third longer than the Danube. There are cities that essentially have oceanic ports. Pittsburgh, Chicago, Sioux City, Iowa, Memphis, Tennessee, a bunch of others that are at river heads, and they're able to travel their portion of the tributary into the Mississippi, into the Gulf of Mexico, and throughout the world from there. No even combination of countries can come close to the amount of navigable waterways that we have inside the continental United States. Barrier islands. Barrier islands from from Brownsville, Texas, all the way up to Baltimore, right around the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, up the East Coast. It basically turns, with all those barrier islands that we have, it essentially turns those bays and those other areas into rivers, very easily navigable rivers that are protected from ocean surges and whatnot. Combined between the Mississippi River system and the barrier islands, the United States has 15,500 plus miles of navigable waterways. That is more than all of the world's waterways combined, navigable waterways. We have the largest continuous agricultural zone in the world. In fact, the tilled ground where we grow our crops in the United States is larger than the country of France. Okay, that's pretty impressive. I'm just saying, God has been phenomenally good to us. We have natural harbors that countries would only dream of. Africa, the entire continent of Africa, doesn't have anywhere near what we have just here in the continental United States. Natural harbors, they can't even create harbors because of the terrain, the geography, the geology, and all of that. And in 2018, the United States was the largest producer of oil and gas in the world. We were exporting. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Whole different subject, different video. We'll leave that one alone. One of the reasons that this country was so blessed. In 1620, the Pilgrims came to the shores of Massachusetts with one real desire, and that was to not be persecuted for their religious beliefs. They came from England. England was, you had to be a member of the Church of England, and Baptists and whatnot. They were all persecuted. You're not real, whatnot. So they came here. All right. They permitted pure religious freedom. You didn't have to be a Christian. You could be a Muslim or a Jew or whatever. It didn't matter. You could come here, you could live here, you could survive, you could make a darn good living, uh, and nobody would bother you. Um, this country has been the protector of the persecuted for the past almost 250 years. The wars that we have fought, um, in reality, they've been wars of liberation. They've not been wars of conquest. When World War II was over, this country could easily have just told everybody else in the world, now we own you. You'll do what we tell you, and that's that. We didn't do that because we are a blessed country. God Himself created America. He set everything up the way it was for a specific reason. My personal belief is that reason was Israel. Now, okay, the United States was established in 1776, of course, as a nation, um, and the God-given rights that were established in the Constitution were not man-made rights. These are rights that basically stem from God as a human being. Every human being has the right to speak freely. Every human being has the right to defend himself. Um, every human being has a right to have a voice in what their government is doing and saying. Okay, these are God-given rights. These are not government-given rights. This country has gone crazy with humanitarian aid. It's just been so blessed and so incredibly blessed that I'm just so humbled to have been born here by God's grace and to have lived the great life that I have lived. So what happened? What happened? Let's start off with this here, okay? In the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, in chapter 12, is when God calls Abraham out of the Ur of the Chaldees, which is Mesopotamia, I believe, somewhere over there. And it says this, chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And here's the kicker. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Now, this was a promise that God gave to Abraham, who was the father of the Jews. He's also the father of the Arabs, not the Muslims, because Islam didn't exist until 600 A.D. But this is where the problem comes in. Okay, as I just read, God said, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. My opinion, my belief, is that the day the downfall of America started was in just before the United States entered World War II. While Hitler was exterminating Jews and all these other people that he was taking out, there was a boat of Jews who escaped from Germany. Germany was somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly if it was Germany, but good enough. They escaped Europe, came to the United States seeking asylum. Roosevelt turned them away. Said, nope, we're not going to help you out. Number one, that's a big screw up right there, because that ain't blessing the Jews, no matter how you slice it. Another issue, I think, was, I'll give you this one thing, though. This one saving grace during that time. It was right after World War II, when Truman, one day after Israel declared sovereignty and declared themselves a sovereign nation, in 1948, Harry Truman immediately recognized Israel as a sovereign state. That's a blessing. Thank God he did something. But the biggest, I think, problem that came from that era, when World War II was over, there was a tremendous amount of pride going to Americans. Now, listen, rightfully so. I mean, this country just went and kicked serious butt. We went for liberation. We liberated China. We liberated Western Europe. Now, contrarily, the Russians, when they came from the east, these guys were raping and pillaging and plundering everything in their path. They didn't care. They were vile, disgusting animals as they conquered the Nazi regime in the eastern part of Europe. We didn't do that. Okay, now, I'm not saying America's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Far from it. But we have improved. We don't go raping our conquered enemies. And it's not even like they're enemies. I mean, we're talking civilians that these people. And the Nazis, in fact, as the Russians were coming across, the Nazis were surrendering to the Americans and the British because they did not want to end up with the Russians because they knew what would happen. They would have been tortured violently and obviously executed. With that being said, now, so World War II, we all know what happened there. And America got a very prideful stance going. All of a sudden, it was like, well, we got this. No, I don't know. Well, I wasn't alive at that time, but I find it hard to believe that there was a lot of people giving glory to God back then. There was a tremendous amount of pride, a tremendous amount of arrogance, and the fact is, we haven't won a war since. You talked about Korea. We didn't win Korea. In fact, Korea is still technically just a ceasefire. We're still at war with North Korea. All right, so Vietnam, okay, we won that war, but we lost the peace. It was, 2 years later after we won the war, and then all of a sudden, the United States Congress, in its majestic wisdom, decided that, we're not going to help out the South anymore. We're not going to give them weapons. We're not going to have. We're going to leave and leave you alone. What happens? Commies come in, Saigon falls, and America is humiliated for the very first time, but unfortunately not the last. All right. So we had the first Iraq War, where we liberated Kuwait from Iraq. We didn't win that war because we did not go into Baghdad and take out Saddam Hussein. And not that we should have, but I mean, it wasn't a war that we won. And in fact, the duration of it doesn't even kind of count as a war. It was more like a little quick police action that we rolled over them so quickly. Iraq too, a joke. We didn't win anything there. Yeah, we took out Saddam Hussein at that point. But look what's happened since. You got ISIS in there. You got it's just, you can't control these countries the way people think. You know what I'm saying? This is the Middle East, man. This is a very proud bunch of people out there, and they don't take kindly to people coming in and telling them what to do. Okay? And Afghanistan, my goodness. How do I even talk about Afghanistan? 20 years of blood and treasure spent by Americans. Dead American young men. For what? So that we can pull out, leaving $80+ billion of equipment behind for the enemy to take? We had nothing to show for it except a bunch of dead soldiers. Now, the next item, I believe, which is one of the massive reasons this country is so dead, 1970. New York was the first state to declare abortion legal. Yes, abortion. The murder of babies in the womb. Very first state in 1970. 1973, the rest of the country said, why not? Through the Supreme Court with the Roe v. Wade gig. Okay, now abortion is not even legalized. It was freaking mandated throughout the country. You could not go into there was no state that was allowed to declare abortion illegal. Okay, which is nuts. I mean, the murder of babies is not illegal. Pride Month, Pride parades. Listen, I really couldn't care less what your sexual behavior is. It's none of my business. You do what you want to do. That's between you and God. Okay? But to sit there and go to promote this behavior, this lifestyle, to first of all, call it an acceptable lifestyle, alternate lifestyle, That's not true. That's a lie. Bold-faced lie from the pit of hell. And then to go and indoctrinate our children with this, that's a problem. I'm just saying that's a problem. And getting to children, I don't know if any of you have seen the movie The Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel. Watched it yesterday. And I'll tell you what, that's some brutal stuff, man. It boggles my mind that this country is involved in the trafficking of children. 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. They're being sold to pedophiles. They're being used in brothels all over the freaking world. We're disgusting, vile. I can't even call them men. I am not going to call them men. Male humans, demonic male humans, I will go. These pedophiles are raping babies, basically. I mean, it's just disgusting. And America is the biggest client, the biggest perpetrator of these vile, disgusting, evil crimes. Now, I'll tell you something. The scriptures are very, very clear. One of the reasons God wanted the Canaanites wiped out when Israel went and took the land was because of the practice of sacrificing children to the fire gods, or what, there's one god, I believe it was Molech. This was a bronze statue that was hollow, had its arms out like this. Okay, they would fill it with fire. They would put wood, coal, whatever it was that they had in there, and they would put fire inside this bronze statue. And when the bronze was red, molten hot, not molten because it would have melted, but when it was red hot, they would place the baby right there in the arms of this demon. And they used to play drums and this for whatever rituals they were doing, and they would have to play them as loud as possible to drown out the screams of these children. This is not just a one type of civilization thing going on. All right, this has been going on for thousands and thousands of years, and I guess we have just made it more, I don't know, what's the word, sanitary? This country is going to be judged. I believe it's already being judged by God because of the practices that I have just mentioned. And now let's look at the anti-Semitism going on. I mean, you had back in October when you had people putting up posters on street poles and whatnot of kidnapped Israelis, and you had other people coming and ripping them down. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, how insane do you have to be? And now they're having they've been having these pro-Hamas rallies. They call them pro-Palestinian. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go with that, because as far as I'm concerned, the Palestinians are Hamas. You might say there's innocent Palestinians. There are no innocent Palestinians. These are the people that are putting Hamas in power. These are the people that were praising Hamas for their acts on October 7th. I mean, these are not innocent people. These are people that raised their babies to be martyrs. They raised them to be martyrs, to kill Jews. Sorry, man, that's not a human being. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. That is a human being, because I don't want to dehumanize anybody. But that's demonic. Those are Satan-filled beings. And as far as Israel's concerned, 44th and the 46th presidents of the United States, I ain't going to say their names because, censorship and whatnot. These two presidents have been the most anti-Israel and anti-Semitic presidents this country has ever had. You had from Truman, who recognized Israel immediately, all the way up through George W. Bush. Again, no big fan. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of politicians, don't like any of them. But they treated Israel with respect. They supported Israel. When Israel would be attacked, like in 67 and 73 and all of these different times when Israel is attacked, the United States has stood by her. We have stood by her, and we promised their protection, to assist in their protection, because let's be honest, they don't need us. They got God, so that works out just fine. 45th president of this country was the first one to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Okay, so that was a blessing, and I think that's the only reason that we're still surviving at this moment. Um, he also said that the Golan Heights belongs to Israel. That's proper. You know, they're all like, oh, everybody's like, yeah, let's go back to the 67 borders. Gladly. 967 BC. Check a Bible map and you'll see how big that was. That's the one we should go back to. Anyway, I digress. Now this brings us to the current situation going on with Israel and Gaza. I will say actually with the Palestinians, because there's plenty of Hamas and whatnot up in Judea and Samaria. You probably know it as the West Bank, but it's Judea and Samaria. Our current president has been anything but a blessing to Israel. Basically demanding a ceasefire. If somebody comes to annihilate you, and their actual charter of their from the beginning of their very existence was to eliminate Israel, eliminate the Jews, no more to be in Palestine, which, by the way, there's no such place as Palestine. That was Hadrian, Emperor Hadrian in 130 AD, I think, that was pissed with the Jews. So he called it Palestina because he didn't like the Jews. So, you know, he was he tried to eliminate their very existence. Obviously, we know that didn't happen. So Palestine, there was never a government of Palestine. There was never a currency of Palestine. There was never an established state of Palestine. Never existed. So Palestine is kind of a joke, and not for nothing, but Palestinian isn't even a word you can say in Arabic. Okay, they don't have a P, so I don't know what they call them, but there's no such thing as Palestinians in the Arabic language. All right, so now let's get to the current situation going on in Israel, between Israel and Palestine. That's not even an actual place. Biden is demanding a ceasefire. I don't know who the hell Biden thinks he is, but he's got no business demanding anything from anybody. All right. It was interesting when you got 2,500 Palestinians coming across the border into Israel and murdering 1,400 people. Babies burned alive, women raped, and babies ripped out of pregnant women's stomachs while the mother is still alive, and the baby speared or burned alive, or whatever the heck they did with them. I mean, I'm sorry. This is not an institution that you can allow to exist. Israel is not an occupier. They gave Gaza Strip to the Palestinians in 2005, and they've been autonomous since then. You know, you can't tell me that these are a people group that deserve mercy. Okay, the Hamas terrorists that did surrender, I guarantee you they're being treated a hell of a lot better than they treat their own damn people, and that's a fact. Because you don't keep your own people as human shields to prevent you from dying, they get to die. I'm sorry, man, that's just insane. The problem is we are no longer blessing Israel. We haven't blessed Israel for the past 3 years, and sad to say, it's coming back on us. America no longer exists as a representative republic. We are a banana republic now. When you start arresting your political opponents, drumming up charges on your political opponents, naming your political opponents, and then seeking a crime, that's what's going on. It's been going on for 4 years. Actually, it's been going on even longer than that. Well, 45 was still in office. I mean, heck, even before he got into office, they were going after him. We're in a banana republic. America's doomed. America is over. Got a little sign on the back of my truck says USA 1776 to 2023. Rest in peace. And sadly, that's the case. Can we come back? By the grace of God, yes, we can. There has to be a tremendous revival in the church, and then there needs to be a tremendous awakening of Americans. I'm not sure I see it come. Honestly, I think we are so close to the rapture. I'd be pretty surprised if 2024 ended, without a rapture. I'm not putting dates out there. I don't know. You could wait another 2,000 years for all I know. But with what's going on in this world, especially in this country, in America, this pedophile garbage going on, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, all of these very famous people that are on this list of Jeffrey Epstein clients. I'm curious as to why we haven't seen it. Maybe we will, but I doubt it. You're going to have a tremendous list of very famous people, politicians, actors. You're going to have world leaders in there. This is going to be ugly, man. If this ever gets out there, it's going to be ugly. I hope it does. But I'm not going to hold my breath. This country is pretty much doomed. And God is a loving, forgiving God, yeah. But there are consequences. There are consequences to sin. And this whole thing with the children, the murder of the babies, and the sex trafficking of children, it's not okay, man. This is not something that God is going to look upon with favor. Jesus was very, very specific about the consequences of just what they're, treating these children as they do. In the Gospel according to John, in chapter 18, verse 6, Jesus says this: "Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe to the world because of offenses. For offenses must come, but woe to that man by whom the offense comes." The offense is here. The offense has been going on for quite some time. And, Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2021, I believe. 2022, whatever. But how many millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of babies have been murdered in the womb? Look at our border. Our border is wide open, has been for 3 years now. I hear there's 10 million that have come across those borders? If 1% of those, that 10 million, are terrorists, 1%, you got 100,000 terrorists. Let's take a 0.5%. You got 50,000. How do you think that's going to end? The stage is set, man. The stage is set. America's ending. The rapture's coming. And now I'm going to take this moment to beg you, if you are not a born-again believer in Yeshua Messiah, I'm begging you, give your life to him now. Read this book. This is the greatest book ever written. It is all truth. 100% truth. There's nothing false in here. No contradictions or anything. This is real. What's going on right now in this world is real. This is not somebody's thought that, it's just kind of, no, this is crazy, man. You see what's going on. You see what's going on in Israel. You see what's going on in the Middle East. You see what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. What's going on, Venezuela. It's just one of the richest countries in the Western Hemisphere. And look at it now. It might even be on a par with Haiti for all I know. It's disgusting. Get yourself a Bible if you don't have one. I mean, heck, if you ain't got one and you can't get one, put it in the comment. Give me your address. I'll send you a Bible. You got to read. You got to get saved, man. This is coming to an end soon. Again, when I say soon, I don't personally see how this is going to last much longer, but Jesus could wait another 2,000 years. I don't see it, but it's possible. So I'm just begging you, grab it, read it, get saved. Hi, I'm Carmelo. I hope this video was a blessing to you. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, notification button. You will never miss any videos. Have a blessed day. Throw yourself on the mercy of Jesus the Christ. If you don't, I mean, there will be an opportunity to get saved after the rapture. If you survive the rapture. Just don't forget, I'm going to do a video on the effects of the earth after the rapture. But, I mean, just like there's no guarantee you're going to wake up tomorrow, your chances are even less. If the rapture occurred right now, then depending on where you are and what you're doing, I mean, if you're in a car and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people that are driving cars disappear, what's going to happen? Read it. Get it, read it, and get saved. So until the next time, may God richly bless you, and may you, the peace of God reign in your hearts. Hi, I'm Carmelo. I hope this video was a blessing to you. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, notification button. You will never miss any videos. Have a blessed day.